Hi traders, this is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for Thursday, the 28th of Feb. All right, now as we come into the Asian trading day, just to kick the next 24 hours off. So just having a quick look at the inflation numbers there out of Canada. Now this is probably one of the prime opportunities yesterday and particularly for the week. It was just a nice clean number, very high impacting and a lot of potential. But it was somewhat diffused, slightly weaker numbers, wasn't really enough to excite the market. And, from there, we didn't get much of a move. So the whole trading opportunity was over. Now, where does that leave us with regards to the rest of the majors? Now, if we just take a look across the board here, there's not a lot's changed. Okay, like the US dollar, and when I come back to the MyFX Trading Hub, I've had the US dollar index just trading sideways. Now, a lot of people have been asking me, look, it's going lower, it's going higher, it's going lower. And it's like, well, yeah, on the hourlies, it's moving around, but overall, it's not going anywhere. And you can see this here, like the US dollar is slightly bounced. Aussie's back in the range here, as is the Kiwi. Now, there's key data coming out today on the Aussie and Kiwi. Probably a bit of a reason why they may have just trickled lower as traders square up ahead of, we've got some Kiwi business outlook numbers, also some CapEx numbers out of Australia, and then also some manufacturing numbers, I think it is, out of China. So that's where that's going to come into play. Now, look at dollar yen. I mean, it's a little bit all over the place. Once again, not really going anywhere, but it's starting to get a little bit more movement. So that should create a bit more interest in dollar yen as we go forward. Now, euro, I mean, we all know euro growth is non-existent. It has sort of rallied and done all right with the slight sort of down move in the US dollar index. If anything, it's gained a little bit of support as sterling continues to rally on Brexit news. Now, it does seem to be waning. If we get, and when we do have some US numbers due to come out from Thursday onwards, we could see a nice clean break here on the downside of euro. It lacks interest at the moment, and that's where those US numbers will come into play. Now, dollar CAD, as I mentioned, pretty benign CPI numbers, no real movement here. If anything, oil looks like it's got full control of dollar CAD at the moment, so just keep an eye on that as we go forward. And then when you come into looking at, what's driving what, well, it's still the same old. And what I'm talking about is these geopolitical issues are still coming up, and the news services are just reflecting that. Dollar advances amid caution over US-China trade talks. Now, I'd love to tap this guy on the shoulder and say, what about yesterday? There was optimism about a great deal, and then the day before it was reversed. So they're just reversing things to try and keep traders interested in their articles. To me, they've said it all before. We're just got to wait and see what comes out. Obviously Trump, not only have we got the Brexit, we've got the US-China trade issue, Trump has still got a lot of other weird things going on in the background in the US domestically. So just keep an eye on that as we go forward. He's managed to deflect just about everything so far, but I'm sure something will catch up with him at some stage. Brexit scale 7-month highs. There's no deal. Brexit fears fall. As I said, that could change any day. I mean, it's trading very loose, sterling, because of lack of liquidity, and general lack of interest. So it just sort of moves around with whatever's going on. And Canada rises as oil rally eclipses inflation slowdown. As I said, oil is one of those commodities that really dominates the Canadian dollar. And at various times, at the moment, it looks like it's in full control. All right, so just coming back to the US dollar index, so you can actually sort of see what's happening across the board. Now, yeah, it's slightly bounced, but it's, that's like a dead duck bounce. It's just trading sideways. It looks like it's on the hourly, it is trading lower, but if I widen that out to the dailies, you just see it's just trading sideways. The interesting one is dollar China is just trading sideways through this short-term trend line, which we were hoping would give us some sort of potential entry level. But we are waiting for the data, and that is, well, there is data today. And what I'll be doing is just adjusting that trend line to the new high form yesterday. And that brings us into today's fundamental releases. Now, as I said, it's going to be a pretty busy session coming up for the Asian session. We've got this NBNZ business outlook number, see how it's like one tier. It's like really low impact. This has had a huge impact in the past, moving it at over 100 points. So just keep an eye on this. If there's a big significant difference in that percentage on the business outlook, you will see Kiwi move. Then you come back down into the Aussie numbers, the CapEx, right? Now, this is all about private capital expenditure. If these numbers are weak, it tells you that they're concerned about the economy and what's coming up. Weak numbers usually means a weak Aussie. Strong numbers supports an economy that's sort of growing. Right, so you've got to keep a very close eye on that as we go through at 11:30 in Australia time. Then you've got the NBS manufacturing PMI numbers out of China. Once again, we get another good sneak peek into the Chinese economic machine and see how those tariffs are really impacting. We're just got to wait and see. A number under 50 is contractionary, but you're really waiting to see how it bases against that 49.5. And then as we come into the European session, okay, you get the nationwide house prices out of the UK. Well, you know what? Usually, I don't mind watching those numbers because a big building used to be a building society, now sort of a bank. These guys give a pretty good reflection of what's going on with house prices, which obviously impact consumers. Then you come into the European session. We've got the prelim numbers, CPI prelim numbers out of Germany and also Italy. Now, last month, these numbers really sort of started to impact. What we want to do is see what's going on in Italy, see what's going on in Germany. If these numbers are all weak, for example, we could start to see the euro slide to the downside. And then when you come into that North American session, we do have the US GDP second estimate. Right, this is usually a little bit closer to the money, but it gives us an opportunity to give that US dollar some sort of direction, which at this point is currently lacking. And also keep an eye on the PCE price, the prelim prices here. This is a good inflation number that the Fed watches very closely. So anything to do with inflation, the Fed are going to watch this. So the PCE prices there may be even a better number than the GDP. Keep an eye on that as we go through. So basically, as we come into trading today, we've got pretty good opportunities across the board where we could see activity through the Asian session, into the European session, and then also obviously that North American session as well. Now, what's going on with the general run of the markets? Well, trading is pretty normal, okay, but the majors do lack direction, which really lacks inspiration. You can see it in the charts and the price action. The currencies are all sort of lagging. Now, why is this? Is the core driver. It's nothing to do with the core fundamental economics or central banks. It's all about Brexit, China, Trump. It's just that bandwagon of rubbish going on. Sterling with Brexit is the clear mover to the top side. Now, that's got no clear start or finish, and there's no control over the announcement. So that is just loose as you like. The rest of the pairs, well, there's not a hell of a lot coming out. But what we can do is connect the dots. The Aussie and Kiwi are trading mid-range, and we do have potential opportunities coming out. So that's where we could see, where traders will be focusing on those pairs, especially with the Chinese numbers. Now, I was looking at the Chinese numbers last week, and I was looking to trade the dollar yuan. You know what? The Aussie and Kiwi really kicked into gear and moved further than the yuan. So to me, on the Chinese numbers this time around, I'm going to be watching the Aussie and Kiwi for a potential opportunity if there is significant variance. And then as you come into that North American session, I've got the US advanced GDP numbers. Now, they are the second estimate. Anything to do with GDP is obviously a big number. It's productivity. But don't forget the PCE price index numbers. They're coming out at the same time and may influence the move as well. If we get the US numbers, matching up, then we could see a really good trading opportunity on the dollar later in the day. All right, guys, that's it from me. Have a good trade day. We'll see you in the 247 trade zone. Cheerio.